I would say just hit the deets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sweep deets.
Yeah.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Half Hour Happy Hour with Alison and Alex. I'm Alison Haislip.
And I'm Alex Albrecht. For the next half an hour-ish, we are going to be spitting some news and supping some beers.
Supping.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're having it for dinner.
Well, it's the royal wedding was happening this weekend,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I feel like I should be...
It's very fancy.
It was very fancy.
Very
Supping
fancy.
is what they say about tea.
Lord
I don't know.
Havenshire Devonburg III.
Oh, you know Lord Havenshire. Speaking of lords and ladies, we are, as always, honored to be in the presence of the Lord of the Volcanoes, Lord Tom Super Volcano Krajewski. How are you, sir?
Good, how you doing?
Hey, guys, this feels really familiar.
It does.
What? Why does it feel really familiar? Huh? Alex?
So, Memorial Day is
Alex.
Got
coming
some
up.
explaining to do, Alex.
What do you mean?
Come
Memorial
on.
Day is coming up,
Yeah.
and because of that, we're not going to be in the same location.
You're making this far too complicated. This is what happened. We recorded this episode yesterday, and then Alex didn't save it. So we're back. We're back,
To
and
do
we're
the same
recording
shtick
this.
all over again.
We're recording this episode.
More importantly,
again.
Alex didn't export it.
Yeah.
But either way, the computer failed us.
It's the
blaming the
computer's
computer.
fault.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
totally
yeah.
the computer's fault.
It's like Chris. It's the 1D10T
Chris.
issue.
Oh, Hardwick.
Yeah, that's
What's the
what
1D10? I don't know what you're talking about.
because it spells idiot.
Yeah.
And so when you're a computer tech person, you would always be like, this is one of those classic 1D10T problems.
Oh, I never
I
heard-
got this.
I never
It's
knew
just
that.
a code word for being able to say
That
the guy's a fucking idiot and the
Yeah.
girl's a fucking idiot. That's why it's not working.
Yeah.
It's solved. But it also makes
Yeah.
them feel like, oh, this is common, the 1D10T. Okay,
Oh,
great.
Well, that's what happened to us. That's what happens to us. So we're
User error.
We're gonna recreate this episode. So
We're going to recreate this episode?
We're gonna recreate.
Amazing.
Oh my god, I totally forgot.
Hey, recreational
yeah.
vehicles.
So-
I really feel like we should be in a recreational vehicle right
Yeah,
now
we
because
could
it would be
recreate
perfect.
so
I know
many
exactly.
things.
So I have stories for you guys that I've never told you before.
You have stories?
I do.
So amazing. Should we save one for tomorrow?
we
Or for next week?
We should save one for next week.
Which one should we save?
The one that involves a parking lot. I think
Done.
we'll tell that one next week.
I look forward to hearing that one.
Done. I hope the whole show is not just this tone.
I know. We gotta shut up. Okay, this is what I want to talk about.
We have new stuff. There's going to be gold that was
Yeah.
left on the mine floor, and there's new gold that's coming.
Yeah, exactly. I saw an acupuncturist for the first time this past week.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
right.
There's that
It
tone
was
again.
very. Wait, have you guys? Have either of you seen an acupuncturist? I forget.
No.
I'm not-
I'd be curious.
I've
Yeah.
always wanted to
Yeah.
because I feel like there's a lot like cupping.
Oh
is
yeah,
interesting.
cupping's a thing. Yeah,
'Cause, like, that-
acupuncturists can do that.
Yeah, cup. Because that's the where they put the like hot air filled cups
Right.
on your back, and then it sucks
Like,
the
sucks
poison
things
out of your
out.
back.
These giant hickeys on you.
You look
Yeah.
like Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
Oh, is that-
Does he cup?
Hiccups.
He cups all the time,
Hiccups.
baby. He
Yeah,
cups
yeah, yeah.
all the
So
time.
I have not done acupuncture, but
So
I
I
wanted to do a
learned-
lot of those like
Yes. So
Chi.
I learned a lot of stuff.
Right, okay.
One of them being that there are two different kinds of acupuncture.
Okay.
There is Chinese acupuncture, which I think is the one we all kind of like know from the movies, where they just stick a bunch of really long, thin
It
needles.
looks like you're being
all over you.
experimented on by Nikola Tesla. You're like,
Yes.
and then the electricity goes through your body from your balls.
Yeah, from your
Okay,
balls.
thank you, Nikola Tesla.
I had a
Interesting.
fascination with testicles.
He is. That's why his last
but-
name is Tesla.
But then there's the version that I did, which is Japanese acupuncture, which is where they use very tiny needles, like they're very short, maybe like an inch
I
long.
think that's racist.
what?
I'm just kidding.
Spread stereotypes.
Yeah. And then they are more like Chinese acupuncture. They basically put the needles in all of the areas in your body where these needles can get put, I guess.
Yeah, because I've seen it. It's like you look like a porcupine.
Yeah, exactly. With Japanese acupuncture, they actually like feel around and figure out where the pressure points are where the needles need to go.
more
so
targeted.
like yeah, so I only had like so she did the front of me first, and maybe I had like 15 needles in me, and then
So-
she did the back and she did like 10.
Why the front? I mean, because it's your back.
Oh,
right?
right. So I
It's
went
like
for
the
my
reverse-
back. I went because, my back's been all fucked up. My back's all fucked up, man.
Back's all fucked up. Need meds bad, man.
It's bad, man. Yeah. So this woman was explaining to me, she's like, with acupuncture, we treat the problem, not the symptom. So she's like, the fact...
Which, by the way, I feel like every medicine person should be doing.
Yeah.
Medicine person?
Medicine person.
It's like shamans come in, they're like, I treat the problem, not the symptom.
Well, but
Thank you, shaman.
we do treat a lot of symptoms with medicine. Like with drugs, with drugs.
That's why pharmaceutical corporations are so rich.
Yeah, exactly. So she was like...
Get it, guys? Conspiracy?
Conspiracy theory? Yeah. So she was like, there's a reason your back did this.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
I see.
yeah.
Like, there's a reason why your aggressive jazz hands did not result in flare. It resulted in a flare up.
Yes, exactly. So I was laying on the table and she was kind of like pressing around in my abdomen because that's, everything like sort of stems from your internal organs, basically.
Yeah.
She's pressing around. And it was really weird because like my injury's on the right side, right side of my back. So anything she pressed on the left, I didn't feel anything. She presses on the right and I'm like, oh, that is kind of tender. Oh, that is tight. Yeah. And then she like taps around and she's like, so I think it's your gallbladder.
That's crazy.
I can't remember if she said it was my gallbladder or my spleen, but I think it was the gallbladder.
One of those things that we don't really know what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, I know it does something. The useless one is the appendix. But I don't know what either of those things do.
Yeah, so she's like, I think it's the gallbladder. And she's like, people who think too much or overthink, they normally have gallbladder issues. And I'm like, that's made to a fucking T.
That's amazing.
Stop using your brain.
And so then she would like tap on something and then she would like press a point on my foot. Mm-hmm. And she'd press on the tap on the whatever in my abdomen again. She'd be like, does that feel better? And I'm like, holy shit, it does.
That's
and so then she would put a needle in my foot where she was pressing.
Amazing.
And then so she basically did that all the way up the right side of my body. So like she releases points, and once that point's released, she can then put a needle there to release another point.
So it's like she's chasing the tension?
Yeah, kind of.
She's like seeing where it presents?
Yes. And so then I laid on my... that was on the front of me, so I just rested like that for like 10 minutes, and then she came back and took all the needles out, and then she flipped me over, and she did it for my back.
Yeah.
And it was... Just flip me over like a fucking pancake.
She gets to get the big human spatula.
Yeah.
Scrape.
None on this side.
Yeah, so she flips me over, and then, she was feeling all around my back, and it is crazy. Like, anytime she pushed on my left side, I was like, I don't feel anything. Anytime she pushed it on my right, I was like, oh, God. So she did.
Interesting.
So she puts these needles in my back, and like she knew as soon as I turned over, she could tell exactly where the injury had happened.
That's so weird.
And she's like, oh yeah, it's really tight right here, and then she puts all these needles in, and she goes back to that area, and it's like super soft. Why is your phone not on silent?
It is on silent.
No, it's not.
It's
vibrating.
That's silent.
That's not silent.
That's silent.
Come on, how many times have we been doing this?
I don't know, almost 200.
I know exactly.
Good quick math.
Yeah. So yeah, she put all the needles in, and then she would like press back where the injury was, and it was totally loose again.
So do you have have there been any other presentations of a tight right side that you've noticed? I mean, like if she's like, your whole right side is tight.
No, she didn't say my whole right side was tight.
No, but you were saying everything that she was touching on the right side was tight. The other side...
Well, actually, if I do think about it, like... I took a fall like maybe 7 years ago now on my right hip, and so I always feel that sometimes. Like I've had that checked out properly. I got X-rays, everything's fine. But I did take a fall, and so like I do feel it there. And it's always like when my knees start bugging me, it's always my right knee. So thinking back, I am always like, oh yeah, it's the right side of my body that always feels a little wonky.
You go to the chiropractor, which we know. Do you do like regular massages? Are you a massage person? Because some people do not like massages.
No, I love massages. I probably get one maybe like once every 2 or 3 months. I don't do it like super regularly. I mean, clearly I've gotten to when I worked with the sports therapist.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I don't. Do you ever do massages?
I got a massage once.
Of course, Tom got it once.
I did.
How do you only get a massage once?
Well, this is the funny thing. I don't think most people go and get massages. Like for me as a kid, it was always sort of like weird special trip that we were on that was like at a spa, and then I was like, I guess I get massages.
That's because most people think massages are supposed to be relaxing, and that actually, if you're doing proper massages, it's not supposed to be relaxing. It's supposed to work out your muscles.
Yeah.
When I was there getting my massage, it just happened to be by this like really, really hot.
Oh no!
Like.
That's the
20-something woman. I was in my 20s too, so I just couldn't concentrate on relaxing because
that's the worst.
I was like, do not get excited.
No, dude. Honestly, that is literally like the bane of everybody's existence.
Wow.
When you're a guy, you're just like, please, just don't get a boner. I mean, it's nice. I'm not aroused, but technically, the brain has nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
she went like all over my body, my feet, everything, and it was just like, come on.
They do your legs.
I should just ran out of there.
Yeah, well, but it's
funny. A big fat dude to give me a massage.
Well, honestly, like if you think about it, the old like the like freaking gangster
right.
mafia thing. It's always some giant fucking dude beating the shit out of their back in front of their friends, and they're like, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we should go back to that. How fun was that? We should make one of those.
I feel like I'm super tight all over just from like lifting weights and never stretching. So I could really use it.
Dude, honestly, stretching is big. Like my dad is super. He works out almost every day.
Yeah.
And has been. He was a bodybuilder back in the day, but he just never stretching was just never a thing. And like I just know one of these days something's gonna pop. Well, he fucking tore his thigh muscle off.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I told you the story.
Jesus.
And it was because he could. Because if you think about it, it's probably was because he wasn't flexible enough, so that when he fell on it, there was no give.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fuck that.
You know what you got? If you guys really want to get massages, you should go to Taz, the sports massage therapist that I went to, because she does the proper one. She does the one.
But does she do just massage? Like you can just. I mean, I feel like a sports therapist.
No, you can do just. No, you don't. Like my aunt, the one who goes to her regularly, for when my brother got married last year, she brought Taz down with her and paid for any member in our family to get a 30-minute massage. If we wanted to get longer, we could pay for extra, but like that was a nice little treatment. And so I got that was the first time I ever went to Taz was then.
Interesting.
So yeah, you can get just a massage. I mean, again, it's not relaxing.
Right.
It's fucking painful.
That's what I want.
But afterwards, like the next day, you're like, oh, right. Now I have normal movement in my back.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I should go back and start doing yoga again.
Go to do yoga.
Yeah, I did yoga. I got really into yoga for a while there.
I remember you did handstands for us once to show off.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot
that
Alex could do handstands.
Handstand push-ups.
Good
Yeah,
job.
And juggling. Did you learn that in yoga too?
I did. That was great. That was an ancillary class. It was like Bikram juggling. Yeah, Bikram. It was an elective, which is very fun.
I don't know how to segue into this, but we need you to talk about the documentary that you watched.
Oh, good call.
Well, that's
yeah. That's a segue.
This was really important. I
totally forgot about this. Yeah.
From the lost episode.
Yeah, from the archives of the lost episode.
Yeah.
This story. So guys,
what's going on, Alex?
Shocking. So I've gotten really into. I don't know why I got on this Jag, and I think because I started onto the Jag.
The show that NCIS was a spinoff of.
No, although I love Jag. Oh, yeah. But no, Donald Belisario's Jag.
Oh. Donald P. Belisario.
Yeah, no. I got on this Jag, and I think Netflix is continually teeing up these things, so it keeps me on the Jag.
Yeah.
But I started watching, when we talked about this, I watched The Miracle Pill, which was about the keto diet.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about
I
this
didn't realize
on the
that was
thing.
the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was called The Miracle Pill. And by the way, it was also about the fact that we currently, the medical practitioners, for the most part, well, they're solving the symptom, not the problem, right?
Yes, yeah.
So from that, I then got jagged up on.
I think you're using this word correctly.
That sugar movie,
jagged up.
That sugar movie, which is basically like this Australian guy.
Right.
Here's the problem.
Wait, we talked about that one.
We might talk about all of them, but I'm getting there. But the problem with that Super Size Me,
right?
It was a great idea, but it started with I'm just going to eat like shit I'm going to do X for a month and see how it fucks me up.
Right.
All of a sudden, you got 30,000 documentaries that are I'm going to do X for a month and see how fucked up it got.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to watch the sugar movie because I was like, I get
know
it.
not
You
to eat
eat sugar and it fucks you up.
Right.
But then I just started watching it because I got on this miracle pill thing and I was like, I should watch this one. And it turns out he's not doing that. He actually is eating what they say is healthy.
Right.
But because the fat's been taken out, they added back sugar. So it's like low-fat yogurt, low-fat granola bars, and like all these things that people say, oh, eat like this and you'll be healthy, but he had a bunch of added sugar. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then I see this movie called The Widowmaker.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, cardiac arrest, who gives a shit for, I mean.
Who gives a shit?
Well, but like, that's not the thing. That's not the thing that I should be worried about.
The people who go into cardiac. Yeah.
No, but like,
cardiac arrest.
I eat well, I exercise, my cholesterol is good. Eat well enough. Really? Like, I just don't think I'm the guy who needs to. Anyway, long story short is...
Tom and I are like, are you sure, mister, I drink a bottle of wine by myself every night?
Red wine's good for your heart.
Walks down to CVS, get a bag of M&Ms.
That's also good for your heart. Late night M&Ms is good for your heart. It's
all right,
science.
Alex. All right.
No, but the long story short is I wasn't going to watch the documentary because it was like, I got other documentaries to fry.
Right. To jag up to.
To jag up off. To jag on. But long story short is that is so untrue. It's not even funny. Like, everybody should be afraid of just fucking dying in the middle of the street anytime.
Jesus Christ.
I'm afraid of that.
Honestly.
I am.
Okay, but we can't live our lives like that.
No,
so
but
That's why we drink so much.
So this is the fucking thing.
Okay.
So, so all of this goes back, and this is the reason why I was saying it's about the other documentaries. Literally, all the other documentaries, all of this issue started the exact same time, which is Dwight D. Eisenhower had a heart attack.
Right, which we've already talked about.
Which we talked about.
And they made up the bullshit
food pyramid and all this shit. This literally, because of that, they started saying, "Oh, it must have been cholesterol. It must have been fat in your body." It's like
sugar.
We guessed. You know what I mean? Like that was a guess.
Right.
I think they guessed wrong. Like we're starting to realize they guessed wrong.
Saturated fats are good for you.
Saturated
They
fats
lubricate joints.
Well, yeah. But so it's anyway.
Well, that's some of them.
Long story
Good.
long.
Avocados and olives.
Yeah.
Avocados from
Eat the
Mexico.
shit out of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
avocados great, and almonds are great. Anyway, in the 90s.
Yes,
These
I remember them.
These doctors basically were like, look, people are dying of heart disease, right? And heart disease is sort of a new thing. Right. Clogged arteries is kind of like a new
Eisenhower
thing.
started the trend.
He started the trend of clogged arteries. Well, in the 70s, this doctor created the concept of a stent, right?
Stent.
Of a stent. Whatever.
Dear.
Here we go. Stent, same thing.
No, it's not. It's
Alex.
stent.
No, it's tomato.
No.
Sandwich
no.
or sandwich. We all know these common
No one
phrases.
says tomato.
So what do you say again? Stent.
Hold on, I'm gonna
All right,
play
fine.
it. This is off of the internet. Wait, oh shit. Hold on.
It's spelled
Stent.
S-T-E-N-T.
I know.
Stent.
Like Stein.
Fuck, wait.
No. Well,
It's
yeah,
a Stein.
but without the I.
Yeah, it's a Stein.
There we go. Shush.
Stent.
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 Stent. That, by the way,
Stent.
that literally sounds like both to me.
No,
it could be
oh my
either.
God.
Yeah.
Laurel or Yanni?
I know.
Yanni.
All right. So anyway, long story
By the
short.
way, it's absolutely Laurel. Like, there's literally no way to hear Yanni.
No. Fuck
do you mean
you.
no?
This happened.
I didn't even
This
look
happened to
into
me.
it.
What happened to you?
I listened to that goddamn bullshit. So, by the way, I listened to the goddamn bullshit, and I had the exact same response. This is saying, Laurel, what are people high?
The only time I've heard Yanni is when some dude made it really low.
Nope, but here we go. Forget this shit.
Okay.
So then the next day, that night, Heather comes home, and I go, and she starts talking about, because fucking everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And we play it, and she goes, oh my God, that's so weird. And I'm hearing Laurel, and she's hearing Laurel, and she goes, I swear to God, I played this exact same. She was like, it must be a different file. When I first played it, it said Yanni, and I was like, there's no fucking way. And she was like, yeah, these are two different files. Then the next day, the Boubet sisters were over for a rehearsal, and they started talking about Laurel and Yanni, and I'm in my computer room, and I start hearing Yanni.
What?
Yanni. And I go, and I take my headset off, and I like walk down the hall, and I'm listening, and it's just going, Yanni. And I'm like, is that a different thing than we played last night? And she was like, no. And then she goes, it says Yanni, right? And I'm like, 100% it is saying Yanni.
Oh my gosh.
So I've seen the flip flop. So here's the cool thing about that, real quick.
Oh God.
Jerry did a deep dive on it because
Of
we were
course
talking
he did,
about it.
'cause Jerry
He was
has too
like,
much time.
I have to look into it. Turns out it was a high school student
Yeah.
doing a report.
Okay.
And she needed to look up the word Laurel for some reason on dictionary.com. That sound is the pronunciation from dictionary.com.
Wait, I'm just going to look that up because that's what stent was. That's what I just played that from dictionary.com.
Yeah. And that and what ended up happening was she was looking up the word Laurel and she heard Yanni and was like, "What?" And then she played it for her friends.
And they said
and half of them said Laurel, half of them said Yanni. Yeah, that says Laurel to me. But I bet you there are people listening onto the podcast that are like, what are you talking about?
I've heard that the people who hear Yanni hear it up higher.
That's my first time hearing it. I didn't even want to click on those links because it sounded like a stupid argument.
It was a stupid
argument. Can we move on?
Anyway, yes, let's move back on.
Let's go to the important shit, which is the stent.
The stent.
Not the stint.
Great. So this guy invented
the stent that goes in your heart.
Stent. And the stent basically is a structure that goes into your artery, and they inflate it, and it becomes basically like a scaffolding for your artery to keep it open.
That's a good way to put
it. They invented it in the 70s, and everybody was starting to use it, right? But you have to have a heart attack to know that you need to have one of these things in, or a cardiac experience.
'Cause my dad has two of them. He never actually had like a full-on heart attack.
Right.
Your dad has two stents?
Yeah, because I think they do go bad after a time. You have to
That's
get them
the other
replaced.
thing. Yeah, you got to get them replaced. Yeah. But they also don't. So the other option. So there's two options before stents. The only other option was a bypass, which is where they take an artery out of your leg and they tie it to the top of the blockage and then the bottom of the blockage, and then basically it just bypasses the clog.
Take that, God! Look what we did to your human creation.
Take that, human industrial revolution of food. We can solve it. We can fix it. We can fix it.
For our fault. Then.
Eat more food. We can fix it. We can fix it. You're not overweight. You're just big boned. So
wow.
But if you put a stent in, you cannot get a bypass.
But why is that? You said that, and I
think it's because essentially they put it in long enough that there is no top or bottom prior to the stent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? But you have to replace the stent. So anyway, long story short, all these people started having either cardiac events like your dad, where it wasn't a full-on heart attack, but it was enough to be like, my heart hurts.
And then they're like, we need stents.
And they go laparoscopically in, and they go, Jesus, that's fucked up, clogged. Let's give him a stent.
They go up through his leg, too. Like
yeah.
The artery.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because you're that way. Yeah, it's crazy. But here's the deal.
What's the deal?
In the 90s, these doctors were like, okay, so how about we figure out a way to screen for this? Because they had it in their brain that they were like, I don't know if it's all the people that we think are going to have heart attack or cardiac events that are having them, right? So they're like,
well, right, because there
are seemingly healthy people that don't have high blood cholesterol, and they also have heart attacks.
Crazy,
right? Yes.
Yeah. So they go, how can we?
Or like how we talked about this before, but I learned from Grey's Anatomy that the heart attacks present themselves differently in women.
Yeah.
So it's like, how would we even know?
Yeah. And this is the crazy fucking thing. So they come up with this idea to do a like a CT scan or an MRI of the heart, right? And from that MRI, they can see calcium buildup. And there is a correlation between calcium buildup and plaque buildup in your arteries.
Ooh.
So they can basically
look at arteries. Don't you just get that on your gums?
No, that's what it is. That's what it is. Is plaque.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have you guys? This is a little segue, but because I've gone down the dark hole of watching pimple popping videos.
What? No.
Oh my god. It's so addictive. But
Are you serious?
the next step up from that, which I will not let myself get into because someone sent me one of these videos and I was like, I will never watch this again, is teeth cleaning videos. People watch plaque getting cleaned off of people's teeth in the dentist's office, and it's awful.
Have you ever heard I'm going to throw something out there. Have you heard of tonsil crypt stones?
No, what's that?
Yeah, Google that. You're
no,
welcome.
God, I feel like I shouldn't.
So there's
go back to the important
there's a thing.
shit.
And by the way, I'm not going to lie to you. Heather had some tonsil crypt stones.
Did she?
And I took them out of her
What?
tonsils.
No.
And
What?
It was the
What do you
craziest,
mean you took them out of her
most
tonsils?
satisfying thing ever.
What?
You like in the back of her throat?
It's so it's like behind your end of your cheeks. There's like these little slits, and they're called the tonsil crypts. And what happens is if you get a little piece of food stuck in there, your body starts building up plaque around the food, and they can become painful. I mean, if you look it up, they're like super crazy big. Hers weren't that big. She was just like, I feel like I've got something in the back of my throat. And, when you're with somebody, they're like, can you just look and see if there's like a hair back there or something you can see? And I looked, and I was like, I don't think there's anything. And I was like, well, there's like this little white dot. And she was like, well, what is it? And I was like, fuck if I know.
Yeah,
and so I got 2 Q-tips, and I was like, well, let me just see if I can. And all of a sudden, this fucking giant chunk of
Are you serious?
of like white thing came out, and she was like, oh, and spit it out. And I was like, the fuck is that?
Oh,
I would have puked if I were you.
It was hidden. It felt very doctory, so I was like, I was okay. Like, I'm going to take out her
like
stitches.
a smart man.
You guys, that's why I like the pimple popping videos. You watch them like from a dermatologist's office. You're not watching like random people do it, but it's like it's very clean and whatever.
Yeah, there's Dr. Pimple.
Dr. Pimple Popper.
She has a show now. She has a reality show.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, they just got to give her a reality show.
Because also she has the best bedside manner. Like listening to her talk in these videos, she's just like so chatty and lovely. And then all of a sudden she like cleans out this massive amount of gunk out of someone's back, and you're like, yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Look up tonsil crypt.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Stones. Anyway,
Right, so back to
the thing. So these guys created this test,
He-
and they said they called it the mammogram with the heart because they were like
the mammogram of the heart.
because
That sounds painful.
no, it's not because it's
Because
just an
like you get a
MRI.
mammogram and
They're
it's
not
crushing
squeezing
your
your heart.
boobs. Yeah.
Does it
all right.
really? Is it?
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but painful things about
I'm
mammograms.
so glad I don't have them.
Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
that right? Yeah. So anyway, long story short, the problem is the stent is very lucrative. The stent costs $50,000 a pop,
Right.
and so and there are guys that do it. They interviewed this one guy who's a cardiac surgeon in New York, and he'll do like 8 stents in one go, and everything's so easy now because it goes up through your leg that he'll like go in, fire off a couple stents every 15 minutes.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
he is super wealthy because the insurance company is happy to pay him because they want the money from the they want
getting
people
$50,000 a stent.
$50,000 a pop. So the insurance company, since the 90s, when they said, have been talking about how this is not correct, you can't really tell, all the shit, and then they don't cover the cost of the fucking thing. And it's crazy. And the reason why the documentary exists is because...
Oh, they don't cover the cost of the...
They will not cover the cost. They'll cover the cost of the stent.
Of the mammogram from the heart.
But they will not cover the cost of the mammogram for the heart.
Yeah. What's the cost of that?
Cost, yeah.
$50,000. $150.
$150.
Yeah.
To get a mammogram of the heart.
Yeah, because they want customers.
They
don't want to solve.
It?
They don't want people who are healthy because they won't be insurance customers.
Right.
So they're like,
Jesus.
It's the problem with capitalistic medicine.
So fucked up.
But anyway, so long story short, I immediately was like, I have to get one of these things because the guy who...
Oh, I thought you meant you had to get a stent.
No, the guy who... I have to get one of the...
You mean you have to go get a mammogram of the heart?
Yeah.
Mammogram of the heart.
Because they also said 5 times more women a year die from heart failure than they do from breast cancer. So
what?
Yes, 5 times more people. So they're like, why is everybody over whatever 40 or 50 getting mammograms every year? This is a mandatory thing when they're not getting these fucking mammograms of the heart.
Right.
Anyway, so we're all doing it. I'm gonna chip in.
What do you
mean? We're doing
it.
I don't know. I'm gonna find out. I gotta talk to my guy.
Well, you're taking us too?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Actually, maybe we
Free
should.
heart scans. I totally want to do this because the guy
I will absolutely go.
The guy who funded the thing is this guy from Ireland who's a millionaire real estate guy who came to the States.
I was going to say yesterday, I think you said he was Scottish.
Whatever, but he's Irish.
Oh dear, here we go.
He is Irish, so
it's different. Okay, he's Irish.
It's not that different, but yes. A
UKian.
Yeah. Anyway, he came to the United States because his not insurance company, but the company he was working for was like, you need to go and get a battery of tests to make sure you're healthy. Because without you, the company isn't a company, right?
So he came to America from...
So he came to America from Ireland.
For the battery of tests?
For the battery of
tests.
Why?
They don't have good tests and stuff?
I think they sent him to the Mayo Clinic. You know what I mean? Like they just were like, whatever, we'll send you to the best place because you're rich.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they did, because they did everything, was they did this mammogram of the heart. And he was healthy, the right weight, ate right, cholesterol wasn't out of control, and he had 70% blockage in his arteries.
Oh, Jesus.
Just genetics, basically, right?
Well, it's just the thing. It's just that's what happened.
Right.
Yeah, like he ate enough pies when he was a kid.
Well, no, I mean,
Tasty
I think you're right.
pies.
It being genetics is like my gums aren't great. Like my teeth.
We can tell.
Jesus.
I can't tell.
Like my teeth, every time I go to my dentist, my teeth, he's like, your teeth are phenomenal for being like the age that I am, which I'm not going to say. But it's always my gums. And I've always had like gum issues for like the last, 15 years. Every time I go to the dentist, they're like gum issues. And
really?
they're really just like I do all the things that I can do. I floss. I actually have prescription mouthwash and all that kind of thing. But it's really just like, they're like, it's just your genetics. Like there's, you produce some sort of chemical or something in your mouth that is just shitty for your gums. And so like, I can believe that a totally healthy person can just have a shitty heart for some reason.
And it's crazy because people, obviously they want to scare you into doing it, which I get. Right. And it worked. I'm doing it.
Okay, I think we should legit take a half-hour happy hour field trip to get a mammogram of the heart. Because I want people to do this because if we save lives, that's great.
Yeah. But by the way, if we save one of the 3 of our lives,
well, that's even better.
Great. Yeah.
But were you saying that just because you get the test doesn't mean anything can happen?
Well, so there's...
you're not saving anyone's life necessarily because there's nothing you can do until you have the heart attack.
No. You can choose to have the bypass before it clogs.
Well, you can choose.
You can choose to have a stent before it happens.
Okay.
I was listening. Yeah, because we did talk about this on the Lost episode. That this guy who found out he was 70% clogged. Yeah. It's not like he could change anything in his lifestyle that would make it go down.
No, it didn't go down. It just retroactive. It stopped it. Yes. So he then went on a super strict diet and exercise regimen that was like specifically designed to lower plaque buildup, and he went back 2 years later and had another scan, and they were like, "You're good. It's not much farther along."
Right.
And so basically he's like, great, this is just how I have to live, or choose to have a bypass.
So it's basically awareness as opposed to having a heart attack.
And by the way, that's why they call it, and that's why they call it a widowmaker, is because you walk around and you don't know until it fully clogs up, and then you fucking die.
So we get this mammogram for the heart, you, me, and Allison.
Yes.
And then say it's really bad. What do we do? Will we go get
Well, then we go to a doctor
well, it
or
depends.
bypasses.
I mean, you would then go to a cardiologist and you would say, I have a 70% blockage. What do I do?
Yeah.
And they may put you on a regimen.
What if they're like,
they
you
might
can't
just
drink
be like,
anymore?
Then
we're like, but it's my job for my
He's
podcast.
like, you know what? I know, we're getting there. He's like,
I'll
you know
learn
what?
to smoke
He was like,
pot.
I'll do the bypass surgery
Yeah.
so I can keep fucking this thing up,
I'll be
and then we'll
honest.
just keep replacing it.
So the acupuncturist sent me like a list of things that, because she thinks I have this issue in my gallbladder, she was like, here are things you shouldn't eat, because people with gallbladder issues, it's
Tim
like
Tams.
No, first off, it's raw food. So I was
Really?
like,
Ooh.
like salads? And she's like, yeah, those are really hard for you to digest. And I was like, so you're telling me I shouldn't eat salads?
What about
You
sushi?
just gotta load it with
sushi. Listen, I'm
salad.
going to still eat this shit.
I'm just telling her what she told me not to eat, not what I'm not going to eat.
The other thing was ice cream, and I went, nope. I'm sorry. I'm like, I know you're going to tell me not to eat that. I'm eating fucking ice cream.
Yeah.
Like that.
Had some last night.
That's legitimately the one thing that I've always thought about. Where I'm like, if someone told me I couldn't eat ice cream for the rest of my life, I'd be like, fuck you.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
And I
But
kinda
now here's
was.
the difference, though, because one of the things, and then we'll get to the email / thing. If it was something that I had factual information about the fact that I was a impending death, I'm like, well, I do like living and being awesome.
You got your Tesla to take care of.
Yeah.
Bucephalus can't live without
Yeah.
you.
I mean, look, I've talked about. I know I've told this story before, but like years ago, my dad was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Oh, right,
yeah, and then he actually changed his lifestyle, and now can do all the things. But like my dad chose like, all right, well, I want to be healthy and live longer, so I will actually work out every day and not eat any more sugar. And so he chose that. While most people don't choose that, they choose to take drugs.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. So quick email.
Yeah.
Because that'll give us some factual information.
Oh yeah, this is important.
So great.
Yeah.
Funny encounter at Starbucks.
Wait, who's this from again?
That's from Lennox.
Lennox. Hi, Lennox.
Hi, HHHH gang. My name is Lennox from Edmonton, Canada.
Edmonton, Canada.
This is the first time I've written in.
You
onto
just
the
got
show.
a new princess, right? Canada's part of the UK, isn't it? Technically,
I think it's a Commonwealth.
it's one of those. Yeah. Congratulations on Princess Meghan Markle. Even though I know she's not a princess, but whatever.
Lady Duchess.
Duchess.
I was
Madam
the dad.
no,
I was the
that's not
dad who sent a picture of my grumpy kid and made it a meme based on your not so fun Mos Eisley experience,
Oh,
which
yes.
is why I wanted to read this email
Okay.
because we have
I'm so
information about that.
excited.
All right.
And hi, Allison.
Hi.
I just wanted to share a funny story that happened last week at Starbucks in Canada.
Ooh, Canadian Starbucks.
Canadian Starbucks were running
I
a
bet they
happy
let
hour.
everyone use the restroom at Canadian Starbucks.
Probably.
Unlike
now American
assholes.
Starbucks has to as well.
Yeah. Has to.
Has to, yeah. They don't want to, they have to.
Yeah.
Canada's Starbucks was running a happy hour for Frappuccinos where you could get them for half off.
That's
I wasn't
awesome.
sure if the promotion was still going on the day, so I asked the barista, and apparently I blurted out, "Hey, is today the half-hour happy hour promotion?" The barista laughed.
And was probably like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and said, "I probably meant happy hour."
Yes.
And then he paused and said, "By the way, I love that show, especially Allison."
Yeah.
And then this is the best part.
Yeah, wait.
After getting my Frappuccino, I noticed that he wrote Super Volcano on my cup.
No.
It was a super Frappuccino.
I love this. Thank you,
Makes my
Lennox
day.
and Canadian Starbucks barista.
Yeah.
I love that he wrote Super Volcano.
my gosh.
Because, by the way, had
Thanks,
he
man.
not written Super Volcano, I'd be like, does he listen to the podcast?
Right,
You know what I mean? That was his way of being like, no, I really
100%.
listen.
So-
It
and
makes
I
sense.
just
Yeah.
Coffee's hot.
Coffee's hot.
Hey.
there you go.
I mean,
but
it was a
but you also
Frappuccino.
know what's
Right.
great about that is like he's clearly the guy who is taking the order, but then you always know there's the person who makes the coffee and then calls out the name. So that person who
They
made
have
the
to-
coffee and called out the name
Super
was probably like,
Volcano.
Super Volcano.
I love it.
Amazing.
That's
And he's like,
awesome.
that's me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope this
cool.
brings a smile to your face as it did to mine. Love
That's
the show.
so
Thanks,
great.
Lennox. And
Thanks,
it did, guys.
Canadians,
Thanks,
for listening
Lennox.
to us.
So,
Yeah.
So,
That's cool.
the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
the Mos Eisley's thing. This
Yes,
is
this is what he was talking about with
Yes.
the Mos Eisley thing.
This is
If-
important to everyone. Listen up.
Yeah.
If you are new to the show, you may not have known this piece of information, but last year,
Yeah, it was about a year ago.
It was about
Almost
a year
exactly
ago,
A year
almost
ago.
exactly
yeah.
a year
I think
ago.
A little over, but yeah.
yeah, we went to opening week of a Star Wars themed bar pop-up. This is what we thought.
Yes, called Scum and Villainy Cantina.
Scum and Villainy Cantina. And it was modeled after the Mos Eisley Cantina, and you looked at it, and it was like, great.
It looked gorgeous.
We got dressed up. We went. It was $50 to get in. You had to make a reservation and buy the tickets early, and you only had 2 hours to be there.
Right, but your ticket included like 2 drinks and a
token,
souvenir,
a cup.
A cup.
We still have the Scum and Villainy glasses. And we went. We dressed up.
We went on opening night.
It was opening
night.
You
guys went opening night. I went the day after.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing.
Yeah, we talked about this on the podcast.
We talked about it on the podcast, some of our issues that we had. Well, cut to...
Whoa.
cut to
belching.
Cut to Principal belching. Anyway, so cut to Aristotle, who works at Nerdist, has become friends with the owner. He's our podcast guy.
Yeah.
Had become friends with the owner.
With the now owner.
Well, he was one of the original. He was the guy who conceptualized it.
Yes.
But had 2 partners that came in that ran restaurants and bars and stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of helped him. So, and that was kind of the issue. Was he had the vision, they were executing, and there was a miscommunication in between.
Right, because we were seeing lots of like other sci-fi stuff in the...
Right.
We thought it was going to be all Star Wars.
Right.
So we're like...
Yes.
And
it wasn't.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So we actually got to meet with JC, the guy who now runs. So it's
did
gone.
Did we?
Sorry, Tom. Sorry, Tom.
Okay.
Tom, you don't even make half the phone calls that we plan. So when a last minute meeting came up, okay, fine.
Too poor.
So we actually met with JC, the guy who now is like running it, because it's no longer a pop up. It's now done so well. It's a permanent location in Hollywood,
and it's amazing. It has like a facade, like sci-fi facade.
Yeah, like you used to have to enter through the alley, and now you get there's an actual front door, and all this
there's
kind of
no cover charge.
No cover charge. It's now a regular bar.
Yeah,
and so we sat down, we talked with JC, and he explained this whole thing to us, and it's like he has now made this what he considers a sports bar for nerds.
Right.
Yeah.
So sci-fi themed kind of.
Sci-fi themed. So it's not just Star Wars. There's all like there's clearly stuff that's like Star Trek influence. There's Terminator
aliens,
references, aliens, that sort of stuff. But it's now got a much better vibe to it, and like, and clearly, like Alex and I went we all went so early, and now, and we had plenty of friends who have gone since then and been like, the place is so cool, and Alex and I were like,
Kevin Smith,
are we assholes?
And Kevin Smith started recording his podcast there when he's in town. Yeah.
Right.
He records it at the Scum and Villainy, which I was like, if he's going there, they have to have upped their nerd game, right?
Kevin Smith, come on,
yeah. So we actually sat down and chatted with JC, explained all this stuff to us, and now. Which I'm very excited about.
Drum roll, please.
If you've been listening for a long time, you might realize that we are coming up on our 200th episode.
200th?
200th. I've sat in a garage with you motherfuckers almost 200 times.
Amazing.
It gets better each time.
It does. Yeah. It does.
It's like fine wine and cheese. It may stink, but it tastes good.
So we have decided that we are going to record. Shush! I'm saying it's. I'm
sorry.
Stuff.
Oh, the fact.
We're going to record our 200th episode from the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
Yeah.
In front of a live audience. So it's going to be June 20th. It's a Wednesday. June 20th. We don't have a set time yet. It'll definitely be in the evening. It'll definitely be post 6 p.m.
Yep.
But if you are in driving distance of the Scum and Villainy Cantina, we would love to see you there. It's awesome. They have some very cool themed drinks. They also have food. And I think after our show, there's going to be like a geek trivia night.
Yeah, they do geek trivia.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I would even throw out there, come in costume, because we will all be in costume.
Oh, we are?
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Scum and Villainy. Fact.
Okay, Alex just threw that out at us, but okay.
Fact.
Yeah.
like
Secondly, we will make a judgment on who has the best costume.
We'll make
we will.
judgment.
Why not?
Oh my God,
Maybe
Alex
we'll give them something.
Alex
I'll find
is
something.
literally tossing out these ideas as we
that's a
speak.
great
So
idea,
sure,
though. Let's do it.
Apparently,
Done.
at our 200th episode, we're going to do a costume contest that Alex just came up with.
Boom.
Fact.
Brilliant.
Boom. Okay, so
Idea man
clearly
right
when we get a
there.
time set, we will let you know, but it'll be June 20th at the Scum and Villainy Cantina in Hollywood. We hope to see so many of you there.
So many.
So many. Laurel, Yanni. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Slant.
The dress was black and blue.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
So we're very excited to do that, and thank you to the Scum and Villainy Cantina for allowing us to do that, even though we were so iffy about
I know.
it.
It was actually a little awkward because he was like, and he goes,
He clearly had listened to the podcast.
He clearly had listened to the podcast because
no.
he goes, I know you guys had some issues about it when you first came, and I was like, go on.
Like, sorry.
Also, it's really cool because the token that they gave you, if you bring that back.
Oh, yes. If you've already been and you managed to get the challenge coin,
they will
you get 10% off your entire order.
Yeah.
That's
which
awesome.
is crazy.
Because part of me is like, I got to go find my challenge coin.
I found mine.
You did?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, good. You're buying for all of us. And our heart mammograms.
Done.
Oh, yeah.
Heart mammograms
10% off hot mammograms with the challenge coin.
It would be very interesting for all of us to go get heart mammograms together and then report back on that. Yeah.
Interesting or good idea?
Great idea. Great idea. All right. We did it.
Yay.
Alex, for the love of God,
Alt F.
save this episode.
Wait,
that's what it takes, man.
I can't re-talk about all this shit again.
But we re-talked about it so good. The Widowmaker.
I do enjoy you guys very much.
Yes. 2 days in a row.
Yay. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you want to email us, you can email us at halfhourhappyhourfans@gmail.com. Hey, Canadian Starbucks barista, email us and tell us about your side of this story. I would love to know that. You can please subscribe to us. Oh, wait, follow us on Twitter. That's what comes first. On Half Hour Happy HR, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, whatever you listen to us on. Share us with your friends. If you're a barista, tell everyone about us.
Yes.
Just tell everyone.
Right, Super Volcano on all the cups.
On all the cups. Every cup. And that is it for this week's episode of the Half Hour Happy Hour with Alison and Alex. I'm Alison Haislip.
And I'm Alex Albrecht. Sitting in with us, as always, the lovely and talented Tom Super Volcano Krajewski.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.